welcome back to another edition of Boss Up with Mr. Key, where we interview the bosses here. And, this is our Black History, or should I say American History Month for our people. And I have a special guest. This woman right here, an amazing mom, amazing wife, and on top of that, just an amazing entrepreneur. Has been doing business for over 20 plus years. She also serves as a business consultant for minorities. So when you're lost, she can help you get on the right track. But her claim to fame is BAE, which is Business Assets Enterprise. That's Business Asset Enterprise. I'm not going to get into what she does, but this is very unique. And I mean, we talk about history, Black history in particular. I'm wondering if she is the first Black woman in these parts to have this business. Without further ado, I want to introduce my guest, Alysia Friday. How are you?
I'm doing well, Andre, and thank you so much for having me today. It's a gift, and it is truly a blessing. So thank you.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. So I want to just jump right in because I have so much to ask and so much to talk about.
Okay.
But, I know we have a time limit. So to just start, let's talk about, where did you take your first steps?
Wow, to business?
Nah, just out of the womb.
You're going back. Listen, I'm a Austinite, born and raised, grew up in East Austin.
Oh, nice.
I can remember as a child, single mom, 3 girls. We grew up, we lived in a garage apartment. Oh. There was an apartment on the bottom and one on the top on 22nd Street in Austin.
Wow.
1 bedroom. So my mom had the bedroom. We slept on one of those, those couches that used to fold out like that.
Oh, yeah, like a futon or something.
So grew up there, moved from there to Elm Ridge Apartments, which really is a project community in East Austin off of 12th and Airport. And within a mile radius, there are 5. Oh, my gosh. Oh, absolutely. Wow. But within a mile radius, there are 5 project communities. So you have this community of women and children, very few dads around, on welfare.
Yeah.
I can so remember, getting food stamps, and we walked down to the little grocery store, and so those are my beginnings. Went to school.
What grade? What elementary school did you go to?
Well, I went to 2. Okay. When I met my dad at the age of 5. So I went to stay with him for my first 2 years in elementary. Blackshear Elementary, a Black school at the time. And then when I went back home with my mom, I went to L.L. Campbell, another Black school. So.
You said something interesting. You said when you met your dad at 5. And so I know a lot of us grow up and we may not ever know who our dad was or just heard stories of him. But for him to come back in your life at 5 and your mom allowing him to take you, what was she thinking? What was that like for you all?
Wow. First of all, when I've heard the stories of my dad coming to get me, he wanted me all along.
Oh, okay.
He always wanted to have a relationship with me, but my mom and my grandmother, them grandmas, they run things.
Yeah.
So they didn't let me see him. And so at 5, I don't know what all took place, but I can remember the day like it happened yesterday. I was 5 years old. My mom says, "Hey, listen, your dad wants to meet you. Do you want to meet your dad?" I was like, "Yeah." I started jumping up and down. We were at my grandmother's house. And I slipped and fell. Busted my lip.
Oh.
I'll never forget. I can see it today. Oh. But he showed up. And I thought he was a prince. I didn't know what a prince was, but that was the first thing that came to mind when I met him. So, I met him at 5 and began to have a relationship with him. And I will say this, that man loved me. My daddy loved me.
That's
now,
good.
he had his own issues, but he loved me.
Yeah, I'm glad you understand that, because as men and starting off as fathers, like, we do have issues. We go through depression. We go through an array of things, and in our community, or just men in period and in general, sometimes we're taught, like, suppress that, like, be a man, keep that in. And that affects our lives and affects our children's lives. But you did say, hey, I know he had his issues, but I still loved him. You didn't let that get in the way. I think that's big. I appreciate hearing that as a dad myself.
Yeah.
So you stayed with him for a few years, and then you came back to your mom was like, it's time to come back.
No, they lived very different. He was very strict. He was and I wasn't used to that, because again, we grew up, kind of raising ourselves. Our mom went to work. When she went to work, you go home, you lock the door, you stay there.
Were you the oldest sister?
I'm the oldest.
Oh, so
yeah. And so it's very different. Yeah. And again, he lived a little bit different life too. So I wanted to kind of go home.
Yeah.
And I did go home. Was that the best move for me? I can't say that it was.
Okay.
I can't. On both sides.
Right.
Yeah and no. But nevertheless, I went home.
You didn't like split time and say, hey, I'll spend 3 days here and then go over there?
No, it wasn't none of that.
No.
It wasn't no child support being, no transactions or any of that. But I did go and visit him. It wasn't like I left and I was done. No, I was always there. And you know what my dad did give me? My dad gave me a family. My dad's family. So they're from Elgin. We've got it's called Butler Hill. You go up there and it's a private drive. It's all of our land. It's his. And them country people, listen.
Had a good time.
Love. I didn't know love like that. I remember I told you he came to get me at 5 years old. He picked me up, took me to the shopping center to buy me some clothes. This all happened the same day. Got on the road and took me straight to Elgin to meet his family. So you have this kid, 5 years old. I ain't never seen pigs and hogs and cows and cornfields and what is all this? But the love
that you felt.
And still to this day, my dad is gone, but my aunts and my uncles and just the love of that Butler family has really helped and shaped me to be a part of who I am today.
They still have the farm? I mean, all the land out there?
Oh, yeah. My brother and my cousins live, my aunts, all of the houses just kind of there on 12 acres. So,
That's good. That's good. I'm glad they were able to hold on to that and have something to pass down.
Absolutely.
Pass down from generation to generation.
Yeah.
So, so I'm the oldest child and you were the oldest child. So my mom, single mom, working. So you become kind of like a parent, like
absolutely
sub-parent.
Yeah.
And so like, did that start some of your leadership skills or?
I've never really thought about it. It's just like, that's what we do.
Yeah.
You get up and you comb hair. Right? You get up and you help them get dressed to go to school. You listen, they get into a fight, you better be the first, you better be the next one in line,
exactly. Right? They get hungry, hey, you better have something ready for them.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. So, growing up, adolescence, the story about your dad was really profound, and it's good to hear a woman talk like that about her dad. But is there anything else that a teacher or anything else from that time in your life that just stood out and made a lasting impact?
Oh, absolutely. Remember I told you I went to live with my dad, my first grade, second grade, Black Share Elementary, Black teachers. I had a teacher named Miss Brown, Ruthie Brown. When she saw me, she asked my daddy, could they have?
Can I take her?
Can I take her? Can I have her? But I'm gonna tell you something. She was committed to not only the other kids, but there was a commitment to me. I guess again because she wanted me to be hers. But she poured into me. She would not take less. She would not take this menial kind of work out of me. She pushed me. Listen, back then they could corporal. Get the ruler. They get the ruler. You remember the ruler? Yeah. And so she poured into me like none other. And then probably in my 30s, I ran into her again. We were going to the same church. And just knowing that she was a part of shaping me.
Wow.
Yeah. Miss
So
Ruthie
she kind of
Brown.
was that one that was pushing you.
Absolutely.
She saw something in you.
She saw something in me.
So after that, let's go to high school. Where did you end up going? Did you go to multiple high schools or just one?
Just one.
Okay.
So I went to Austin High School. That was not in our district.
You didn't do LBJ or Reagan?
I was supposed to go to Lanier.
Oh, okay. Lanier, okay.
But I'm going to be real honest with you. Listen, I grew up in the projects.
Yeah.
And so I didn't want to be a part of the always into fights and stuff like
Project politics.
Yeah, that part. And so we used someone's address, a friend of my mom's in West Austin.
Nice.
And so I was able to go to O. Henry. I was the first Black cheerleader they ever had.
Wow.
Yeah. And then just followed that, went over to Austin High School. So
we're talking about Black History Month. And so how was it being at that school, the first Black cheerleader? Like, I mean, obviously our hair can do stuff that they probably was like, whoa, how many times did you have to say, stop touching my hair?
Listen, I had an afro out to here, for real. The afro's out to here, so the hair thing is real. But it was interesting because I didn't know what I didn't know. Let's say that. I don't remember feeling like I didn't belong there. I don't ever remember that at O. Henry or Austin High School. And then we had some teachers there that looked like us.
Okay.
That would, encourage us. But it wasn't that, we Black and we're this. It wasn't that kind of thing. You just got in. And then my personality of who I was, I sang in the choir. As a matter of fact.
So you weren't shy. You were going to make sure your presence was felt.
And it wasn't like I was trying to do it. It's just who I am, right? And so I was able to, do pretty good.
Oh, that's good. That's good. So you graduated from there. And did you go to college? Did you start working right away? What happened?
Listen, my desire was to go to college, was to be a social worker or a nurse.
Okay.
I remember my senior year, we're sitting on the porch, my mom and I'm jumping around. And I was a decent student, for real. And I'm jumping around. I said, I'm getting ready to graduate and I'm going to college. And the words out of her mouth just deflated me instantly. She looked at me and she said, so who's going to pay for it? And I did. I felt like somebody had kicked me in the gut because I was everybody was going to college. Everybody's going to pledge. Right. I already knew what I wanted to do.
We had a different world back then, the
Cosby Show. Absolutely. And immediately after I could kind of get my thoughts together, I said, so I'm going to get a job. Now, I always wanted to get out.
Right.
I didn't want to be what society had said we were going to be coming out of the project. I already knew that. So I was like, okay, what can I do so that I can get out of here, but be something?
Right.
Be something more than where I came from. And I wanted to be, I said, okay, I've taken vocational education in high school. I can type. I'm a really good typist. I want to be a legal secretary.
Oh.
And so I started looking for employment that would help me kind of reach the goals that I wanted to reach. So I didn't get to go to college.
Okay. But you got valuable experience working right away, right?
Oh, my gosh. Yeah. Yeah. The vocational education, I don't even know if they have that anymore in high school. I don't think so. You go to work for somebody, they find you a job.
Right. You have those off periods and then you can,
And so those jobs, the jobs that I had really helped build my skills and, just kind of like fueled me wanting to be more, have more, So.
Good. Was there any time during like just working for someone else and just learning these different skills that you work from being an employee, maybe working your way up? Is there anything that like correlates with you saying, hey, I'm going to be an entrepreneur?
Actually, I worked for a university and I was there. And I wasn't going anywhere. I knew that and I saw it.
Glass ceiling, huh?
Yeah. And then so I went to work for some brothers. they had a business, they had been doing business, and they were kind of courting me, and it was kind of scary, right? Going to this private company, you lose, retirement. Yeah, you lose all of that stuff, those securities. So I went to work for them. 1 year, 1 month after working for them, we all got laid off.
Oh, man.
I went in to run their business based off of the state of Texas requirements, bringing in hub businesses, historically underutilized businesses, wanting state agencies to do business with them, a good faith effort.
Right.
I knew that they were a minority company. What I knew how to do it. And so they hired me to come in and do that. And listen, you talk about thrive, and they gave me space to do that. You want to talk about thriving. However, it's that other part they didn't handle. They didn't have the money stuff and
financials.
And taking on new products and not knowing how to work them.
Right. So they didn't understand. It's just like, we'll take it, but may not have the bandwidth, or like you said, not even understand the product enough to how to work it.
Absolutely.
Oh man, I'm curious though. Like you sound like you had a pretty big role of helping that company grow. Where'd you get your business acumen?
I'm going to be real honest with you. That is a gift from the Lord. And I tell people that all the time. Like, if you and I are sitting here, you come to see me for the first time, and you sit down and I want to start a business. And I'm like, you mind if I start typing? And I'll turn around and I'm just It is truly I'm just typing, right? And I'm listening. And by the time we're finished with our conversation, I turn around and I say, follow this, start here. That's a gift.
Wow.
But I also think it's one of those, I want people to succeed so bad. I don't care who you are. Right. I want you to succeed so bad to where I put all this energy into whatever you're telling me so that you can go and be successful. And so it goes back to, remember, I wanted to be a social worker or a nurse. It's helping people. That part. It's helping people.
Yeah. And you have like this, great energy. It's like your energy is amazing, your vibe. And I just listening to your story. When your dad came, you were jumping around. When it was school, you were jumping. You got this energy and this motor that's just like, let's do it. Let's do it. Let's do it.
Make it happen.
Yes. And you need that. You need that. Yeah. But obviously, when you have that energy and you're making things happen, you hit low points, especially as an entrepreneur. And so you got laid off from there. Was that a low point, or did you just know like, hey, this is a blessing, I'm going to the next thing?
Let me be honest. It was like, can I get my unemployment? I need my unemployment. Right. However, I also knew that there was a need for hub vendors. And so I didn't stop. So when I left there, again, being able to meet some other vendors in the game, I met a guy out of Louisiana. And I'm like, I can't do this for nobody else. Right. I know how to do this. And so I'm like, I need to start my own business. Well, I ain't have the credit. I didn't have the money, any of that. And so I called him and I said, hey, can I use your credit lines, your lines in your office supplies? Because again, the state of Texas needed hub vendors. Right. And he was like, yeah. I said, I'll give you 25% of the profit. I didn't even think. 25%. People were like, are you crazy? 25%. It didn't even matter. Right. He let me use his credit line. So we're going. I get started and we're moving. And then one day I get up to go place orders and I can't get in. I can't get into his system.
Locked the system, huh?
He locked me out because my orders had overtaken his credit lines. And instead of him just calling a sister and saying, hey, listen,
what's going on here?
He shut me completely out. I had orders on the desk.
Was he afraid, or what was?
Well, he couldn't, instead of, I don't know.
Right.
But
Can
instead
you
of just
increase
saying,
your credit line, we're paying
increase your
credit.
I'm paying. And I'm telling you, the minute I got paid, I was making sure not only did he get paid I paid the invoices, but I also made sure he had, so he making money hand over fist.
Right.
But he shut me out. Talk about devastating. That was devastation number one. But after that, I just didn't know what I was going to do. And so I went I went to see this guy here. And I won't mention his name, but he was a blessing for me. And I sat down in front of him and I was like, what am I going to do? He said, you need to do boxes. I was like, what's a box? What is a box? a box. And he had a box on the floor with a bunch of junk in it. Excuse me, had a bunch of stuff in the floor. And he said, a box. I was like, I don't even know what that. Okay. And he said, there's a company that can use boxes. And so when you begin to think about boxes, packaging, everybody uses it. So I was like, where do I go? He said, there's a box plant in San Antonio. Go down there, learn about. So I drove to San Antonio to the box plant 2 and 3 times a week. Walking through the plant, getting educated on weights of paper and box sizes.
Wait, man, you skipped the part. Like, how'd you get inside the plant? How'd you convince them to?
I called them and said, I have a potential customer.
Oh, okay. Got it.
And I did because I followed what he said. I went over to talk to that customer. And you know what? It was interesting. I'll never forget this lady there. I went in to sell her office supplies. And she said, sister. I was like, No, but I'm going to give you better pricing. I'm a lure. She said, that's what y'all do.
Oh,
she told me that. She said, that's what y'all do. You come in and you keep underbidding one another. You take this one out. Then he's going to come back and take you out. Then what? She says, I don't need an office supply, but I need this box. I was like, okay. Yeah.
That's good. I hate that game too of like underbidding because like these companies have employees, they have people they have to pay, and I know you want to get the bid, and sometimes you have to do what you have to do, but like to what expense? Like, are you
to what expense?
At some point, you got to cut the line. If you want to go with the cheapest, have at it.
Do it.
You can either have a filet mignon
Absolutely.
or spam.
That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. Right. But listen, filet mignon is bigger. That kind of attitude is bigger than low bid.
Yeah.
Because see, now you have access to me.
Yes.
The CEO, right? I can make a decision like that. Ain't no red tape. You ain't got to get a bunch of approvals. Listen, you can call me at 7:30 p.m. when I'm on the track, and I'm going to answer your call. Right. And in the morning, your stuff is in the works, right?
You don't get that type of service from a lot of companies.
No.
Not at all. So that was your first client?
They were my first client, and they are my client still today.
Wow.
24 years.
See, that shows something that you obviously pour into your clients and build that relationship because for someone to stay with you, and I'm sure they've gotten people to, hey, we can outbid her, or we can, but that type of connection and that loyalty is something that you had to build.
Absolutely.
Nice.
And in building the loyalty, you know what they did? They allowed me to grow. I went from a box to poly bags. I went from poly bags to tape and stretch wrap and crates and pallets. And now we do their lottery consumables, right?
Wow.
We're
Just
under
kept
lock.
growing.
They allowed me to. They allowed me to know what it was like when it's not even in my wheelhouse to go and rent a trailer. What's a trailer? Hey, listen, can you get us some chairs? Well, I'm not in the chair business, but because you need it, absolutely.
Make it happen. That means they trust you.
They trust me.
So let me ask you this. So as you start to grow in business, I see you have the energy. And as an entrepreneur, like I'm the accountant, I'm the secretary, like I wear all these hats. Did you get to a point where you were able to start hiring some people?
I did. My sons, both of them. Again, I'm about legacy, but we throw that word legacy around and it don't really mean a whole bunch. It doesn't mean what it really means.
Yeah.
And so I did. I started hiring my older son, first of all. So also in the process of this, of growing, I also owned a staffing agency and I ran them parallel. Again,
nice.
From a customer, needed some staffing. And so we can do that too. So we opened it. So my oldest son, came to work for me, and the customer had a need, not just here, but also in El Paso. Shipped them up and moved them out there.
Say, hey, I need you all to hit the ground running out there.
On 2 high school semesters of Spanish, he ran that thing like a boss. You want to talk about a boss.
Nice.
So moved him out there, he ran that, and then when he came back, that's a whole nother story about what happened to that, but that's over. And so my other son, my younger son, works for me now. He's been with me probably 3 or 4 years. He's my warehouse manager, logistics, and all of that. So, and we've hired other people too. The reality is, for me, my customers are important.
Right.
And so I don't even play around.
Can't let you fool around and mess up my reputation.
That ain't happening. That ain't happening. And so everybody doesn't take ownership and buy into, the mission.
Yeah.
And so we're not hanging out for the rest of, okay, let's just, I love you too. And, this ain't
I'll let
working.
you go. Yeah, I'm not about to cripple my business.
Absolutely.
I used to say, hey, good help is hard to find, but I want to change. I want to change that whole thing in my life.
Yeah.
So it's power in the tongue. I'm going to stop saying that.
Yeah.
Like, there are some people that see my vision and will help run my company like it's their own.
Absolutely.
I want to ask you something about, pulling your family into business, your sons. Did you have to drag them kicking and screaming, or they were like eager to jump in?
They were eager to jump in.
That's good.
They were eager to jump in. When we lost the staffing contract that we had, it was a lot because, again, that was another area of growth for us, another feather in our hat, if you will. And my oldest son, he was all in. I mean, he came to work with suited and booted. He came in ready. He's kind of like me, big old smile. Yeah. He's an interesting young man. You walk up to him and you on the streets and you come, hey, Alysia, how you doing? And you say, hey, how you doing? This is my son. He'll say, Cyril Friday. I'm like, chill out, dude. Just bring it down a little bit. But so it kind of, he for real about this thing. So it kind of affected him because, again, it was his thing and we're going to build this and he's going to run this. So when that went out, he's like, Mom, I really want to find me something that's going to keep me busy. Yeah. So, yeah.
That's good. That's good. I mean, that's the part of it. Like, there's ups and downs and peaks and valleys. The tide is going to come one time and then it's going to be low.
Absolutely.
You're going to have droughts. It's just, how do you survive it is the thing. Do you prepare? Are you prepared for it? And financials is key. And I want you to talk to the people about business financials. Like, first of all, you need lines of credit. Like, you were able to use somebody else's line of credit to get you started.
That's right.
How do you maintain through those peaks and valleys?
First of all, you got to learn how to manage your growth. That's where we mess up.
Key phrase. I like that.
You got to manage your growth. I'm in business. I'm grow 100%. Okay. So how you going to do that?
Right.
Where's the staff? I mean, and the deal is, I don't believe that we're having those kind of conversations with people that are owning businesses and starting up and whatever. We're not having those kind of conversations of, okay, so where are you getting your money from?
Right.
GoFundMe is not the way to fund your business. So where are you going to get your money from? Do you have a banker that you can talk to? And how about a credit union? That's probably a better start, right? You got a credit union you can talk to. What do you need? How much is it going to cost you? But managing your growth. Don't go take 10 customers.
Can't do it if you don't have the capabilities.
Listen, if you're growing, I think it's amazing if you can do that and you got money somewhere sitting like that. But I don't even want to spend my money like that, right? I want to do this thing where I can manage it from day to day, the day-to-day operations, not just throwing money at it because it's there, but really look at, okay, what do I really, you asked me employees. Now, right now, it took us a minute, but we worked hard to get this down to be able to work. My son and I do this thing. Now, my oldest son, he comes in on the weekends and does some stuff, but we're a $5.8 million corporation, right? And so how do you do that? Listen, you work hard. You don't take, nope, we ain't doing that. You're going to do it like this. And you put things in place so that you don't have to spend all your resources. You manage your resources. Manage your resources.
And have good systems in place, too. That's important, too. Having a good system where, certain things work. I always equate being an entrepreneur like a scientist because, like, for me, I have to spend money in marketing. And then every quarter, I have to review it. Like, did this work? Did this, maybe I need to pull back on these resources. This is actually working. Let me double down on this one. Let me look at it. How's it going? Like, I have this thing where you have to reach your due north and you're on your ship.
Yeah.
And if you don't look and check from time to time, your ship could be way somewhere else.
Absolutely.
Way out of the loop. So you want to make sure you're still on the straight and narrow for your goals. And you have to look at it, test it, reevaluate it, just like being in horticulture. You plant it, so much water, and then maybe not this time, keep it drier. So you obviously have that acumen. It sounds like you had it at an early age. It allows you to continue to grow.
Absolutely.
So when you talk to other entrepreneurs, what do you feel like they're lacking as far as that growth mindset?
Oh my gosh. What they're lacking is the whole really understanding all of it, right? And here's the deal. You don't get it all today, but understanding business as a whole, this is bigger than money. Let's keep it 100.
It is.
This is bigger than making money. This is about those other add-ons, I guess you can say, or attaboys or whatever you want to call them, that you get. It's about the knowledge that comes with that. My customer allowed us to grow our product offering because we were available. I'm not getting paid after hours when they call me.
No,
you know what I mean? If something happens, I'm gonna get a call at 8:00 at night. I'm gonna get a call at 6:00 in the morning before I can brush my teeth. I'm gonna get that. So it's so much more. I am going to be. They miss how to connect, right? And the connection is more than, oh, this is my customer and he's going to introduce me. No. I'm starting right here. My customers know my grandbaby's name.
Wow.
You feeling me?
Yeah.
They know my name. I'm certified through the National Minority Supplier Development Council, and I've gone to a bunch of their functions. When I would show up, Coca-Cola would be there, right? One of the vendors, they have vendors, Coca-Cola, Kraft, whoever. And one of their supplier diversity guys, he'd see me, hey, Alysia, how's your son? How's your whatever? That's because, again, it was bigger than just, oh, you got a bid?
Right.
You got something I can bid on?
Yeah, people see when you're just thirsty to make money, and that could turn people. Now you're like sleazy salesperson.
Yeah.
As opposed to, hey, I like service. Like, I really want to help people succeed.
That's it.
And you can feel that from the people that are genuine about that.
Absolutely.
So I wanted to talk about this. I mentioned, you talked about the lottery distribution. Like, how did that come about, and explain that? Because I've never heard of it. Obviously it makes sense that it has to be that, but explain how that came about and what it exactly you do.
So you remember that customer that I told you, she says, no, you can't do that. The box was for them. So International Gaming Technologies is a lottery gaming industry. They do the lottery. They print tickets. They print roll stock. They
scratch offs, all of
that. And we provide some of the ink for the Texas games. We do a little bit of that. So that box that we were way back then, it was a small box. It was called a 2-pack box, I believe. They put scratch offs or instant tickets in there, and they ship them out throughout the districts and to the retailers and stuff. So again, it's important in packaging for those tickets anyway that they don't arrive at the retailer crushed and bent and beat up. So you design a box. These are all custom boxes. These ain't boxes that you go into.
Just go into like.
No, you don't get to go into Office Depot. No, you don't get to do that. Boxes that are custom made so that to protect that their inventory until it gets to the retailer. And so we got in there, we did that. And so I remember it was years we were doing boxes, and we did all sorts of boxes, different sizes. And their VP came over with one of the purchasing people to my office, and he says, we want you to start doing the printing. I was like, okay. How you do that? Right. And he was like, well, we've been doing this with this. These are our vendors that have been doing it, whatever. I was like, okay. I don't know anything about pricing. Right. Are you guys going to help me? He said, no.
What?
He said, no. Okay. I said, I'll do it. So I started reaching out to their printers. Listen, I know y'all going to be doing the majority of this. I've got a portion of this to help them. I'm a subcontractor that we're looking at this. I had to bid on it. They didn't give it to me.
Right.
I had to bid on it.
So you had to figure out that pricing.
Razor thin. Almost took me out.
Whoa. Your margins was a little too low, or?
They were way low.
Okay.
Way low. I mean, really.
How long did you have like a contract and then have an opportunity to go back? Like, okay, I did this for 2 years. Now we need to raise our prices.
Well, before the contract was up, I had to go back because I wasn't going to be able to survive. But again, they didn't give me that, and I respect that because again, listen, they don't want nothing on their head. Everybody got to come to the table with your own resources, right? You need to do this. You got to learn about it, and so, but I thank God for the printers. Again, hey, how you doing? What you up to? That's kind of how I talk to my vendors. It's like, hey, very friendly with them, letting them know, listen, let's bring this down because we're going to be working together, hopefully. And they just educated me on the process. And so I won the first time, and then I went back and I, again, bid again and, just going through the process that I needed to. But
are you happy with my service? That's the first thing.
Well, here's the deal. I'd already been doing a bang-up job for them. They call, again, you call me at 6 o'clock, I got boxes in the morning. Now, these boxes are not boxes, again, you get off the shelf, they need to be manufactured. They need to be cut and ran on machines and all that. So,
oh, so you have a warehouse with actual machinery then?
I don't have warehouses with the machinery. I have strategic partnerships with
the people. So you sub
with converters.
That out. Yeah, so good. Man, it's amazing. I'm wondering, so I mentioned earlier that I feel like you have to be the first woman of color, first Black woman to have that in Central Texas, have that business. So we're going to go ahead and stamp that right now for Black History Month. Like she is the first. She is the first right here. And so we are lucky to have her on the show.
Yeah.
Where do you see yourself going in 5 years?
Wow. Well, to be really honest with you, I'll be 60 next month.
No.
60 next month.
Man, you look amazing.
Thank you so much. Listen, what they say, thank God I don't look like what I've been through.
No doubt.
But in 5 years, I really hope to pass the full baton over to my son. And we've been going through a lot of training. Bring in my other son, bring him back to actually do all of this. My customers love him, and to help him to get that same kind of energy and whatever that I have, grooming him for that, but also to still grow the business. You don't stop growing your business.
No, you don't. You don't stop. That's your baby.
Absolutely.
And you want to nurture it until adulthood.
Absolutely. Continue to get, I was doing a certification for a government entity here. It took me a month to get it all done. But it's like, you've been in business 25 years, almost 25 years now. You still getting certification? Absolutely.
You have to keep learning.
Have to keep learning and keep being available.
You must have a lot of connects here. It seems like, you know these vendors, like when to take these certifications. Like, is that just being, rooted here or just talking to everyone, having that personality where you're approachable?
Being approachable, but also asking questions.
That's good.
Just, hey, how do I do this? Tell me how. They're doing that. How'd they do that? And, it's like working up a level again, my personality, just like we just chilling, right? With everybody, I do that. And so they're comfortable. They can relax, put their shoulders back. And so I've been able to kind of work up to the people that can that can say, hey, listen, call them. I'm going to let them know you coming.
Do you ever run across people when you say, I'll just ask the question. Do people see you as a threat and maybe want to be guarded with that information?
My people do.
Man.
And since I'm going to keep it 100 with you. The people that look like me that are in business, that has been my biggest struggle. That's why I wanted to help other businesses. Listen, when you know what you have, and you do what you do and you know how to do it well, I'm not threatened by you. As a matter of fact, I don't even want to do what you do. And if I do what you do, it's so many people in the world. Oh my goodness.
It's enough. That lack mentality,
That part. But it's us that I have gotten the most shunning from. And then we have this thing where we got to shine. We got to be on the billboard.
It only can be one of us at a time.
Right. And I don't need all of that.
Man. It's a shame, but I mean, hopefully, we can kind of start, forming these coalitions and things like that where we can all come and stand. Like I'm doing this show, I'm meeting so many entrepreneurs, so many Black entrepreneurs that, we all have a like mind. Like we want to help others. Like I'll give so much information to people that's just like, hey, you could take it and run with it. If you need help, let me know. Sometimes I should say no more, but I'm just a giving person.
Absolutely.
But the one thing I don't like is someone that comes to try to pick my brain or try to use me because they see me as a quick come up.
Absolutely.
Like I'm not a lick. This is not going to happen overnight. Like you have to pay your due. Like I'll give you the information, but you have to pay some dues. You have to go through the process.
Yeah.
And people want something for nothing sometimes. And, it's like, okay, I'm giving. Like, what are you going to give in return? This have to be reciprocated here. But
you speaking my story. My friend, my good friend said something to me. And I hurt my feelings, but it was all true.
Right.
And I received it. She said to me, you've been trying to be the grace in people's life as long as I've known you. That's real.
Been trying to be the grace.
The grace.
And then sometimes people they're not ready to receive the grace.
Not.
They're not. And
I know that full well.
You're pushing and you're trying to get them to see it. At some point, it hurts your heart to step back. Because like you said, you want to see people succeed. That's like I get joy when I see people succeed and make it and come back and say thank you. That's all I want.
Absolutely.
Because when I visualize stuff, I don't visualize how much money I make. I just visualize the smiling faces, people shaking my hand saying you did a great job. I know money will be an afterthought if I have those people lining up to come say thank you, Andre.
Absolutely.
So
absolutely.
I have a segment in the show where I usually like to, throw out a few words or phrases. And before I get to that, Bay, I like your acronym. What made you come up with that name?
I don't know. When I got ready to start the business, it was myself, the organist, and our church pianist. They knew I was getting ready to start the business, and I'm literally walking up and down the church halls, talking to them. Gotta get a name, right. And I want to be able to help. And I want to be. What do you want to do? I want to be able to help. Just want to help and make sure that I can provide. I'm very service oriented. And I was like, something for the business. And so we started out just business assets. Yeah. We want to be an asset to your business. We want to be an add-on. And so that's where that name came from. And so as we have just evolved, I guess you can say, to where we are now, it's like we're BAEing. We're business assetting, right?
Yes.
We are, like I told you, if my customer called me and say, listen, I need some records, I'm finding them, right? We are doing those things to add value to the customer, which also brings value to us because, again, we don't do records, but we're doing them now.
Right. So, give us an opportunity. We're going to make it happen for you. Yeah. That's good. So let's see here. I want to say a word, and you just tell me what comes to mind. The first thing I'm going to say is revenue.
Whoa. When you say revenue, that's how we live. That's how we provisions. Those are the provisions.
Like that.
Yeah.
Like that.
Provisions. Yeah.
Marriage.
We see those false cries. No, we ain't go into that. Ooh, listen. Be for real.
Be for real.
That ain't marriage ain't for kids.
There's nothing to play with
at all. 38 years in July.
Like I gotta give you that. I mean, when you look at the statistics, like it's not like it's probably 50-50 that they make it. So, when being with someone over 30 years, you've been through a lot.
I don't look like what I've been through. And he doesn't either. Let's say that, right?
But like that show say, they still together.
And still here, the same man. Yeah.
That's good. You have to, in this current society where everything is so microwave and so quick, you can just swipe to try to find the next person. Yeah. You definitely have to commend that. Another word, training.
Essential.
A
must. Yeah, essential. Yeah.
You give training, but I think good training gives employees confidence.
Absolutely.
And when they have confidence, like now you can have confidence that your business is in good hands.
Absolutely.
And obviously with your son, I'm sure you've given him A1 training. Did you have to bring the ruler out when they make a mistake?
Trust me, I do.
You back to the old days.
But you know what? That's your first customer.
Yeah.
Not the people outside. Your employees are your first customer.
That is true.
You serve them and they will serve your customer. You teach them how to serve. You know how did you teach me to fish? I'm a fish I'm gonna eat forever. You give me one, that's all I have. But they are the first customer. We forget that.
Yeah, that's true. Wow, that's profound. I understand that. They're definitely the first customer.
Yeah.
I always say, man, I wish I had a clone. I wish I could, like, if it was 5 of me.
Yeah.
But, you make your employees an extension of you by servicing them.
Absolutely.
Treating them like you would treat yourself.
Absolutely.
So,
yeah.
Interesting. I like that.
Yeah.
Well, Mrs. Friday, it was a pleasure having you here. I've learned a lot. Like, this 45 minutes just couldn't service as much as we would really need to hear from you.
Yeah.
But, people here, I hope you took as much as I did away from this conversation with this amazing woman.
Wow.
Again, we want you to know that, it's out there for you, but you have to have a plan. You have to have a plan. And if people want to call you or find you or just pick your brain, take you to lunch, like, where could they find you?
Absolutely. You can email me at AFriday. That's AFRIDAY at BAELP.com.
Nice.
You can call my office at 512-990-9654. I think I'm on Instagram. I'm on Facebook, Alysia Friday. So reach out to me. I'll reach back. You reach out to me, I'll definitely reach back.
We're going to share all that stuff in our notes, Wes, so that if you're okay with it, if people want to call you, you may get some strange calls. But, but you know what? The thing is that never once did you say, well, I may not have time for that. Somebody calls you, I got a feeling if somebody calls you and they're serious and they have that passion, you're going to pour into them.
Absolutely.
And that's so key. That's so key. I thank you all again. This is our Boss Up with Mr. Key. History making, Black History Month. This woman right here. Don't forget the name. Don't forget the face. Again, I'm Mondre. Until next time, you all be safe.